Picture this. It's a Wednesday evening, 6 p.m. on Las Vegas Boulevard. The sun's going down, the neon signs are waking up, but something's missing. The sidewalks are empty. The hum of excitement that once defined this city has gone quiet. For decades, Las Vegas was the dream, the land of no income tax, cheap homes, and endless sunshine. A place where you could start over, find fortune, or simply escape. But in 2025, that dream has turned into something darker. A city where thousands of families are packing up and driving away, chasing a better life somewhere else. Behind the shimmering lights of the Strip lies a reality tourists never see neighborhood struggling with unbearable heat, schools on the brink, and families drowning under hidden costs. The so-called City of Freedom has quietly become a trap, one that bleeds your savings, your energy, and sometimes your sense of hope. Because the truth is, Vegas was never built to keep people. It was built to use them, to lure, to dazzle, and then to drain. And now, the illusion is breaking. In this episode, we're going to expose the 10 powerful reasons why people are leaving Las Vegas, from the suffocating climate to the crumbling community, from the housing bubble to the fading promise of opportunity. So stay until the very end, because what you're about to see might completely change the way you think about America's most famous city of light and sin. This is City Exposed. Las Vegas 2025, the real reasons people are leaving. Las Vegas, a city of illusion. From the moment you land, it overwhelms you with color, sound, and spectacle. The Strip glows like a promise of endless excitement. But step just a few blocks away, and that promise begins to crack. Beneath the neon, behind the glitz, lies a truth few outsiders ever see. Las Vegas is not just losing its population, it's losing its soul. For decades, this desert oasis sold itself as the ultimate American dream, a place without state income tax, where anyone could start over, buy a home, and reinvent themselves under the desert Sunday. But in 2025, that dream feels hollow. Thousands of families are packing their lives into moving trucks, leaving behind houses they can no longer afford and a city they never truly felt part of. Ask any long-term resident and they'll tell you, Vegas isn't a community, it's a hotel that never checks out. Neighbors come and go, apartments change tenants every few months. People move here chasing sunshine, only to realize that a permanent sense of belonging doesn't come with the climate. It's not just about money or weather. It's the way Las Vegas is built, a transient city, designed for tourists, not for those who stay. Its economy thrives on short-term thrills, slot machines, conventions, weekend escapes. That same energy seeps into everyday life. Relationships feel temporary, friendships are fleeting, and the idea of home never fully settles in. Even community spaces, the schools, parks, and libraries struggle to create real connection. There's no deep-rooted culture holding the city together, no shared identity beyond entertainment. And for many, that emptiness hits harder than any bill or heat wave ever could, because no matter how bright the lights shine, people need more than spectacle. They need stability, belonging, and meaning. And those are things Las Vegas, in all its luxury and chaos, rarely provides. By the time newcomers realize this, it's already too late. They've seen behind the curtain. The show is dazzling, but the stage is hollow. And that's why, before we even talk about housing prices, crime, or climate, we have to start here, with the fading heartbeat of a city built on illusion. Because once you understand how disconnected Las Vegas feels to those who live here, everything else, the heat, the debt, the danger, finally makes sense. For decades, Las Vegas lured newcomers with one irresistible phrase: no state income tax. It sounded like freedom, a financial paradise in the desert. People from California, Oregon, and even New York packed their bags, convinced that Nevada was where their money would finally work for them. But in 2025, that promise has turned into an illusion, a mirage shimmering over the Mojave heat. Because while the state doesn't take your income, it finds countless other ways to drain your wallet. Let's start with the dream of home ownership. In Las Vegas, the median home now costs $485,000, triple what it was a decade ago. On paper, property tax rates still look modest, but when tied to a house that expensive, Annual bills quickly reach several $1,000s. Add to that HOA fees common in nearly every suburban development, and you're writing checks every month for landscaping, security, or pool maintenance you might never use. Some homeowners pay $200 to $400 a month just to follow neighborhood rules about the color of their garage door. Then there's insurance, the silent tax of the desert. With brutal summers, flash floods, and wildfire threats, premiums have climbed relentlessly. Insurers see risk everywhere: roofs scorched by the sun, pipes bursting from heat, foundations cracking from drought. Even auto insurance ranks among the highest in the nation thanks to rising theft and collision rates. Utilities add insult to injury. Air conditioning isn't a luxury here, it's survival. A typical summer power bill easily hits $400 to $700 per month. Water rates creep upward every year as drought restrictions tighten. Even garbage collection and sewer fees have surged as the city struggles to sustain its 2.3 million residents. So yes, you don't pay state income tax, but that saving vanishes the moment you add everything else up. The real cost of living in Las Vegas hides in plain sight, buried beneath no-tax slogans and glossy real estate ads. Families who once felt financially liberated now find themselves trapped in a cycle of unpredictable bills. Retirees on fixed incomes are watching their monthly budgets crumble, and the middle class, the very backbone of the city, is quietly slipping away. The irony is painful. Las Vegas sold itself as a tax haven, but in reality, it's become a place where ownership itself feels like punishment. When the bills keep rising and stability keeps fading, even the most loyal residents begin to wonder, what's the point of living in paradise if you can't afford to stay? Las Vegas has always sold a single seductive idea: opportunity. A city where you could walk in with nothing but ambition, work hard, and carve out a fortune under the desert Sunday. But in 2025, that dream feels more like a gamble than a guarantee. Because here, the job market is as volatile as the slot machines that define the Strip. When tourists come, money flows. When they don't, everything collapses. The city's economy is built on a fragile foundation: hospitality, entertainment, and tourism. It's the ultimate good times economy. When conventions are booming and hotels are full, jobs seem endless. Bartenders, dealers, security staff, performers, everyone earns. But when global events shift or when the market dips, the music stops overnight. We saw that during the 2020 pandemic when the entire Strip went dark. Overnight, Las Vegas became one of the hardest hit cities in America, with unemployment soaring past 34%, the highest in the nation. The shock was so deep that even years later, residents still speak of it like a natural disaster. And although the economy has recovered on paper, many workers know better. Jobs returned, but security never did. Most hospitality roles still lack strong benefits, stable hours, or meaningful retirement plans. For every executive making six figures in a casino tower, there are hundreds of employees juggling 2 or 3 part-time jobs just to survive. Meanwhile, efforts to diversify have been slow. Tech companies like Tesla, Amazon, and SpaceX have set up shop nearby, but they only employ a fraction of the city's workforce. The truth is simple: the casino still runs this town. And when your livelihood depends on tourists, not locals, your future is never really in your hands. Then there's the income gap. The median household in Las Vegas earns about $72,000 a year, but you need at least $115,000 to comfortably afford the average mortgage. The math doesn't work. The result? Families live paycheck to paycheck, terrified that a single layoff or downturn could send them spiraling. For younger generations, the instability is even worse. They don't just want a job, they want a future. But how do you plan for the future in a city where the economy itself feels like a roulette wheel? Las Vegas may glitter with prosperity, but beneath that shine lies a truth every resident learns too late. In this city, even your paycheck is a gamble. Las Vegas was never meant to exist. A shimmering metropolis rising from one of the driest deserts in North America, it's a modern miracle built on borrowed water and borrowed time. But in 2025, that miracle is cracking. The city's biggest threat isn't crime, housing, or inflation, it's running out of water. Lake Mead, the lifeblood of Las Vegas, has dropped to its lowest level since the 1,930 seconds. Those white bathtub rings circling its cliffs aren't scenic, they're scars. Visible reminders that the Colorado River, which sustains over 40 million people across the Southwest, is drying up faster than anyone imagined. City officials love to boast about conservation success. They're right, in part. Las Vegas uses less water today than it did 20 years ago, despite adding nearly 500,000 new residents. That's thanks to recycling systems, lawn bans, and strict water restrictions. But for locals, that pride feels hollow when the sacrifices fall squarely on their shoulders. Families are ripping out grass lawns they once loved, backyard pools are being restricted, ornamental fountains are turned off. Meanwhile, images from neighboring states, lush California golf courses, and suburban sprinklers sting like salt in the wound. People can't help but ask, why are we the ones making all the sacrifices while others keep wasting? It's not just about inconvenience, it's about fear. What happens to home values if water becomes scarce? What happens to property insurance, to construction, to everyday life? No one wants to buy a house in a city where turning on the tap might someday be uncertain. And that fear has begun to reshape migration patterns. Families who once saw Las Vegas as a long-term home are quietly selling their properties and heading to cooler, greener places, Oregon, Colorado, even northern Utah. They're not just chasing comfort, they're chasing security. The cruel irony is that Las Vegas has done more to conserve water than almost any other desert city, yet it's the one paying the emotional price. Living here means waking up every day with the silent question, will there be enough tomorrow? In the desert, water is life. And when life feels uncertain, people leave not because they want to, but because survival demands it. Las Vegas was built on defiance of nature. But in the battle between neon and drought, nature is starting to win. At night, the Las Vegas Strip burns brighter than any skyline in America. Neon floods the streets, casino marquees shimmer like daylight, and for a moment, it feels invincible, as if nothing bad could ever happen in a city that never sleeps. But locals know better. Step a few miles off the Strip, and the glow fades into the dim light of parking lots, empty sidewalks, and restless neighborhoods. It's here, in the shadows, that the illusion of safety begins to break. Statistically, Las Vegas sits in the 35th percentile for safety, meaning 65% of U.S. cities are safer. That's not a comforting number for families trying to raise children or retirees looking for peace. Petty thefts, car break-ins, and home burglaries happen daily. Ask any resident, they've heard it, seen it, or lived it. But the concern runs deeper than property crime. In recent years, violent crime has crept beyond its old boundaries. Neighborhoods once considered quiet now report assaults, robberies, even random acts of violence. After the pandemic, incidents of school fights and on-campus threats have surged, shaking parents' faith in both public safety and education. For newcomers, especially those arriving from smaller towns, the shift is jarring. They expected suburban calm but found a metropolis struggling to manage rapid growth and big city crime pattern. Even communities marketed as safe havens, Summerlin, Henderson, or Centennial Hills, now advise installing home security systems, cameras, and reinforced lock. Safety here has a price tag, and it's growing every year. The fear doesn't just exist in numbers, it lingers in the air. Parents double-check door locks before bed. Neighbors whisper in Facebook groups about car break-ins. Joggers switch their evening runs to early mornings. It's a quiet tension that spreads, unseen but felt. Metro police work hard, and community watch groups have made progress. But a city this size, with millions of tourists cycling through every week, can never fully escape its chaos. And that chaos bleeds into daily life for residents who never signed up to live inside a tourist playground. For many, the question becomes simple. Is the sunshine worth the sleepless nights? Because safety isn't just about statistics, it's about peace of mind. And when peace disappears, even paradise starts to feel like a prison with flashing lights. In the city of illusion, the greatest trick Las Vegas ever pulled was convincing people it was safe. Once upon a time, Las Vegas was the land of affordable dreams. Families moved here from California and Arizona chasing sunshine, space, and homes they could actually buy. A 3-bedroom house for $118,000 in 2012 wasn't just possible, it was common. The city promised everything America once stood for: freedom, ownership, and a fresh start. Fast forward to 2025, and that dream has all but evaporated. That same house now sells for nearly $485,000, a staggering 300% increase in just over a decade. Mortgage rates hover near 7%, pushing the average monthly payment above $2,800, even before taxes and insurance. Add those in, plus HOA fees, and many families are paying over $3,200 per month just to keep a roof over their heads. To comfortably afford that, you'd need an income of at least $115,000 per year. The problem? The median household income in Las Vegas sits around $72,000. The math doesn't lie. Most locals simply can't afford to live in their own city. Renters haven't escaped either. A modest two-bedroom apartment that once cost $1,200 a month now averages $2,000 or more. More than half of renters in the region are now considered cost-burdened, meaning they spend over 35% of their income just on housing. The reason behind this crisis? Out-of-state investors, many from California, have flooded the market with cash offers, often tens of thousands above asking price. They buy properties not to live in them, but to rent or flip for profit. Locals trying to start families can't compete. They're left with two options: pay more than they can afford or leave entirely. Meanwhile, construction isn't keeping up. Experts estimate Las Vegas needs 7,000 new rental units every year just to meet demand. The city is falling far short of that, pushing prices even higher. For many longtime residents, the betrayal stings. They built this city. They worked in its casinos, schools, and hospitals. Now they're being priced out of the very community they helped create. The billboard dream of affordable desert living has turned into a cruel mirage, shimmering from afar, but impossible to reach. And so, the moving trucks roll out daily. Families who once believed in the Vegas promise now head east, north, anywhere else, whispering the same words on their way out. We just can't make it here anymore. If you ask newcomers why they moved to Las Vegas, most will tell you the same thing: lower taxes, cheaper homes, and a better cost of living. But what they don't realize until it's too late is that Vegas has 1,000 little knives, hidden costs that quietly drain your wallet month after month, until one day you wake up wondering where your money went. Start with your car, the true victim of desert life. The same tires that last 60,000 miles in other states barely survive 3 Vegas summers. The brutal heat cracks dashboards, fades paint, and melts seals. Engines work overtime, air conditioners never stop running. Locals budget an extra $1,000 to $1,500 a year just to keep their vehicles alive. Miss a single oil change or tire rotation, and the desert will eat your car whole. Then there's the lifestyle creep. Las Vegas isn't just a city, it's an endless invitation to spend. World-class restaurants, residencies, Cirque du Soleil shows, luxury malls, rooftop bars, temptation is everywhere. You tell yourself, just this once. But in Vegas, once becomes every weekend. Couples find themselves spending $500 to $800 more each month than they planned, and that's before counting gas, tips, and parking. And then comes the elephant in the room: gambling. Not everyone plays, but the constant exposure wears people down. Slot machines blink inside grocery stores. Casinos hide behind every freeway exit. Even a quick coffee run might pass by a row of video poker screens. The accessibility blurs the line between entertainment and addiction, and for some, that's where the financial freefall begins. But not all costs are measured in dollars. Las Vegas's transient nature means friendships fade quickly, neighbors move often, and support systems rarely take root. The emotional strain of constant change of knowing people come and go can feel like another hidden expense. It's not a line item on your budget, but it eats at your sense of belonging all the same. By the time residents realize what's happening, they're already trapped, buried under car repairs, dining bills, impulse splurges, and mounting credit card debt. The cheap city they thought they moved to turns out to be one of the most expensive lessons they'll ever learn. In Vegas, it's not the big bets that bankrupt you, it's the little ones you don't even notice. If you really want to understand why families are leaving Las Vegas, you only need to ask one question: would you send your kids to school here? The answer, more often than not, comes with a heavy sigh. Not if I can help it. For years, Las Vegas attracted young families with sunshine, affordable homes, and the promise of a fresh start. But that dream is breaking down inside the classrooms of the Clark County School District, the fifth largest in the United States, serving over 300,000 students. On paper, it sounds impressive. In practice, it's a system stretched to the breaking point. Las Vegas ranks near the very bottom among America's 50 largest metro areas for school quality. Overcrowded classrooms, underpaid teachers, and chronic staff shortages have created an environment where even the most dedicated educators struggle to make an impact. Many teachers juggle classes of 35 to 40 students. Special programs get cut due to lack of funding. Counselors and aides are spread across multiple schools. The result? Students are passed from grade to grade without mastering basic skills, a conveyor belt of education that prioritizes attendance over achievement. And then there's safety. Since the pandemic, reports of school fights, bullying, and behavioral problems have surged. Social media is filled with disturbing videos from local campuses, showing fights breaking out in hallways and cafeterias. Parents describe a system that feels out of control, more focused on managing chaos than cultivating learning. Some families turn to private schools as an escape, but quality education in Las Vegas doesn't come cheap. Tuition runs between $15,000 and $25,000 per child per year. For a family with 2 kids, that's a staggering $50,000 before even paying rent or a mortgage. And that's the breaking point. Parents can endure hot summers and rising costs, but when their children's future is at risk, the decision becomes simple: they leave. In wealthier enclaves like Summerlin or Henderson, a few excellent schools exist, but those are exceptions surrounded by walls of high property values. For most middle-class families, those zip codes are out of reach. The tragedy isn't just about education, it's about trust. Families came here believing in opportunity, but now they see a system that can't deliver. And when a city can't promise a better life for its youngest residents, it starts losing not just people, but its future. For newcomers, Las Vegas always begins the same way, a postcard-perfect dream. They arrive in March, when the desert air feels warm but gentle, the sky a flawless blue, and the temperature sits at a comfortable 75 degrees Fahrenheit. It's paradise. The kind of weather that makes you say, "Why didn't I move here sooner?" But then July arrives. Step outside, and it feels like opening an oven door. The heat doesn't just touch you, it swallows you. The sidewalk burns your shoes, steering wheels scorch your hands, and even a short walk to the mailbox feels like punishment. Temperatures hit 115 degrees Fahrenheit or higher, sometimes for weeks. This isn't just uncomfortable, it's dangerous. Las Vegas now records more heat-related emergencies than almost any other U.S. city, rivaled only by Phoenix. Elderly residents, outdoor workers, and even children are increasingly at risk. Pets can't walk on pavement without burning their paws. Air conditioners run 247, not by choice but by necessity, because in this city, cooling isn't luxury, it's survival. But survival comes with a price. Summer power bills soar to $400, $700 a month for even modest homes. That's an extra $2,000, $3,000 a year just to keep the temperature livable. Add that to rent or mortgage payments, and the cost of simply existing under the desert sun becomes unbearable. And the heat isn't just a seasonal inconvenience, it's reshaping life itself. Outdoor sports disappear half the year. Children stay inside, construction slows to a crawl. Even tourism dips during the hottest months, hurting the very economy the city depends on. Worse still, Las Vegas's extreme heat feeds into its other crisis, the drought. As temperatures rise, water evaporates faster, reservoirs shrink, and the pressure on resources grows. It's a vicious loop. More heat means more water loss, and more water loss means more fear about the future. Locals who once laughed off the summer now plan their escape routes. Many are moving north to Utah, Colorado, or Oregon, anywhere with seasons that still make sense. Because Las Vegas isn't just hot, it's relentlessly, unforgivingly scorching. And as the climate crisis deepens, that heat feels less like weather and more like a warning. The city once marketed itself as the land of endless sunshine. Now, that same sun is chasing people away. Las Vegas was built on a promise, a shining city in the desert where dreams could be reborn, fortunes could be made, and life could feel limitless. For decades, that illusion worked. The lights, the luxury, the lifestyle, it all told a story the world wanted to believe. But in 2025, the story feels different. The lights are still bright, but behind them, something is fading. The city that once symbolized freedom and reinvention is now facing a quiet exodus, not because of a single crisis, but because of 1,000 small betrayals. Families came here for sunshine and affordable homes, but found crushing mortgages and power bills that rival their rent. Workers came chasing opportunity, but discovered a fragile economy that depends on tourists, not residents. Parents came for safety and stability, but were met with failing schools and growing crime. And everyone, no matter their reason for moving, eventually faced the same question: do I really belong here? Las Vegas doesn't lose people overnight. It wears them down slowly. First with the heat, then with the bills, then with the loneliness, until finally, one summer evening, they look around and realize the city that once dazzled them now feels hollow. The moving trucks come quietly. A family from Henderson heads to Boise. A young couple from North Vegas drives toward Denver. A retiree sells their home and moves to Oregon. Each one leaves behind another empty house, another fading memory, another layer peeled off the mirage. Yet, in typical Vegas fashion, the illusion never dies. The Strip still glows, tourists still pour in. To outsiders, nothing looks wrong, but those who've lived here know the cracks are spreading beneath the surface. Because a city built on spectacle can't survive forever without substance. Still, not everyone gives up. There are those who stay, the ones who believe Vegas can reinvent itself once again. They're building community gardens, supporting local schools, and fighting to make the city more than a tourist trap. Whether they succeed or not will decide if this desert oasis becomes a ghost of its former self or a new kind of city born from its own struggle. Las Vegas shines brighter than any city in America, but its light comes at a cost. And in 2025, more people than ever are deciding that cost is simply too high. So the question remains, is the dream of Las Vegas still alive, or are we just watching the neon flicker before it fades?